The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Wrestling to the Max, Monday Night Raw Review.
Hello and welcome to the Raw Review tonight, the Wrestling to the Max Raw Review tonight. My name is Brandon Biskobing. Wait a second, I don't normally host. Well, Gary is having some family issues right now, so he will be out for a little bit. Not sure exactly how long he will be out for, but best of luck to him and, good help to everyone. Hope to have you back on here soon enough. And joining me tonight is my normal co-host, my normal fellow co-host on the SmackDown in 205 Live review, Liz Pugliese. Liz, how's it going?
Good. How about you?
Yeah, not bad. Tonight was the go-home show to the Greatest Royal Rumble. And we get a big, tribute to Bruno Sammartino, who, for those of you who have been living under a rock for the last couple of days, he died, Saturday? Friday?
Yes.
Saturday. So we get the 10-bell salute and all of that. Is it just me, or I may have been counting wrong, but it didn't seem like they did 10.
I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and listen because
I'd have to listen. But I thought I counted like 8.
Yeah, I missed the very beginning of Raw, but I think you're right. I think it was short.
Yeah, so it was odd. And then there was a weird awkward silence, like they did screw up, like someone didn't do the last 2, and then everyone was just kind of standing around like, huh? Is that it? Someone miscounted. So after that we get Brock Lesnar coming into the ring, and we get a commercial break right away. Not really much to talk about the whole Bruno thing. Kind of what you expect. Honestly, it was a little longer than I was expecting. Although it is Bruno, so he is a big name in the industry and everything. Then we get Heyman, doing his normal thing, talking about that everyone thinks they're out there to gloat about how Brock was able to retain at WrestleMania, but that is not true. Right now they're looking to the future, looking to the Greatest Royal Rumble, and the fact that Brock is going to beat Reigns again. And he says that Brock, because of how MMA is set up, how the UFC is set up, Brock specifically asked for this cage match because he's used to fighting in a cage and all of that, which makes a lot of sense. And pretty much just did his normal Heyman thing. One thing I kind of thought about earlier is Heyman going to be allowed at this thing on Friday?
I don't know. There's so much. I mean, obviously, there's no women.
Yeah, obviously.
But there's
which we'll talk about that later.
Right. There's so much political stuff going on in that area. Mm-hmm. I guess I'm assuming that there'll be exceptions because he can't be the only one of that.
The only other person,
I could think of.
The only other Jewish person, at least distinctly, in the one that it stands out to you that I can think of is Noam Dar, and he's injured right now.
Yeah, and he would, yeah.
So,
and he's also Scottish, so he could probably maybe fly under the radar.
Exactly. So, Heyman is the only one that I can really distinctly think of that's very, very Jewish. So
right.
we'll see how that goes. But, Heyman does his normal thing. I liked how he said that he wants to gloat about how Brock used very non-PG elbow smashes to mess up Roman's face. That's the one good thing about Brock that I like, is that, he has the power to be able to do certain things that, toe that line. Moving forward, then we get, Roman coming out as Heyman's doing his normal thing, greatest fighter in the, it was also funny, he called the, octagon the Brocktagon.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was great. And he goes into, his normal thing, and then Roman comes out, and just kind of stares him down and says, he's right, but, he's coming home with that Universal title, and you can believe that, yeah. Any thoughts on this segment?
No, I mean, it was a standard segment between the three of them. I mean, the highlight of it really is Paul. He's always the best in it.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see.
Go ahead.
No, I'm curious to see who does, win. A lot of people think that, they're gonna have Brock drop to, Roman at the, at this event. But
well, let me actually. That's actually a good point. Let me get the card pulled up, because I do want to do predictions later. But I mean, I agree with you that Paul is always great, but at the same time, maybe it's just me being very cynical, and because I've been watching ever since Brock has come back and everything, it just feels like he basically says the same thing every week, and it's like...
Oh, no, he does.
It's starting to get old after a while.
Yeah, he's very repetitive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just hear the same exact shtick every week, and,
And to a degree, you understand that because, how much can you change it?
Oh, no, I understand why they do it, but, it's
I totally agree. It's very repetitive.
It's still one of those situations where it's like, come on. Enough is enough.
No, I agree.
So, after that, we get Kevin and Sammy show, or Sammy and Kevin show, promo. And then after break, we get Bobby Roode versus Elias, which is a weird mashup. First off, the fun, probably the best part of this whole thing was how Elias is about to play, and Bobby doesn't even give him the opportunity to do his "Hello, my name is Elias" or anything like that.
Yeah,
he's just automatically hits "Glorious." And then
that was the highlight of the match, actually.
Yeah, pretty much. It was a solid match. It wasn't.
Yeah, that was good.
It was. I mean, probably the best part of it was how Elias kind of outsmarted Bobby and got the schoolboy roll up. That was a pretty interesting spot there, going through the middle rope into the schoolboy. But this definitely isn't over.
No, and I think given time and a little effort, we can get a solid program out of the two of them. I think it could be really interesting.
Oh, definitely. Let's see. After that, we get we get a Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt promo, which was great as always. Hardy talking about going to the Oracle at Delphi.
Yeah.
Him calling the greatest Royal Rumble the most humongous Rumble of royalty.
Oh my god, that killed me.
That was great. You know, and you know, and then what was also cool was how, like, Matt's whole background is very bright now with his promos in WWE, and then suddenly it just dims for Bray. It's very yin and yang type situation there with those two, which I like a lot. It's a lot of fun to see.
I do. I like that they kept a lot of, what Bray is and Bray was in the new version of him.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it makes it it just makes it so much it makes it better because it is very much that yin and yang instead of just changing Bray into, Hardy 2.0 pretty much.
Yeah, no, it's a little more believable in a sense.
Exactly. So it's going to be fun seeing what they do with them. I'm just hoping that this doesn't become another Bray Wyatt push that just suddenly gets snafu'd like almost immediately, like what happened with him and Orton a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I don't want it to become another he sides with them to turn on them and loses.
Yeah, exactly. This leads into a match with. Oh, first off, did you hear Corey when they showed the whole pictures with Rock and his new kid? How Corey was like, "Why is The Rock naked?" or something.
Okay, so I laughed so much at that because when I saw The Rock's Instagram picture, I understand the whole baby and parent skin thing, but I said to myself, why is he holding the baby shirtless? Like, isn't that supposed to be the mother?
Well, I mean, it is The Rock, so he's got to show off and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get why they did it, but it was still funny. It was funny how Corey called him out on it.
Yeah, he's hysterical.
I actually had some moments where I agree with Corey tonight, which doesn't happen very often.
No, same.
So we get, like I mentioned, we get a tag team match between the Deleter of Worlds. The Deleter of Worlds. Shouldn't it be the Deleters, like plural?
I think so.
Yeah. It doesn't work when you're saying the Deleter of Worlds. Like, that would imply there's only one person.
Right.
But it's WWE. They do wacky things. We get a tag match with them against the Ascension. Oh, poor Ascension.
Oh, they just need to be repackaged into, I don't know what.
No, they just need to get sent back down to NXT and allow them to become what they were in NXT again.
Yeah, that might be best for them.
But that's neither here nor there. It was a decent match. I'm trying to think if there were any, like, crazy spots or anything. Not really that I can distinctly think of.
No, I can't think of anything. I mean, it was a solid match.
Yeah.
But, we knew who was going to win.
Oh yeah.
And for the two teams that I think. I mean, I think there's for Bray and Matt. I think there's a lot of people that are all for it, and then there's others that are just like, yeah, whatever. I don't really think there's too much, in between. So for two teams that you might have a lot of people that are meh about, it was decent.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be the biggest issue with this team is that the fans who know Hardy and know this gimmick from Impact, they're gonna love it. They're gonna eat it up. And a lot of those fans are also the same fans that are big Bray Wyatt fans.
Right.
So, the smarkier fans are going to love it, but the more casual fans, at least based on what I've seen, that's where they're going to have some of the problems. But hopefully they're able to, catch on, and hopefully they start to grow on it. And, I certainly, like I said before, I certainly hope that they are successful.
Right, as do I.
After that, we get the Sammy and Kevin show. Owen says that a great void was created last week with the departure of The Miz, and that they're going to fill that void with the two of them, which I hope they actually do continue. I hope they have this being a recurrent segment and not just a one-off like how the excuse me, like how the Ambrose Asylum was just a one-off thing, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So because they did well tonight, I think.
Yeah. No, they were very funny tonight.
They definitely KO, and Sammy's getting better as well. I mean, he's always been good as well, but Kevin Owens is definitely one of the better talkers in WWE right now.
Oh yeah, definitely. But Sammy is, definitely coming into his own, and they've just, as history knows, they worked so well together.
Yes, of course. And they talk about who better to win the Greatest Royal Rumble than one of them. Not sure how that'll work because if it's both of them I know it. I know it's never happened, and I know it never will happen. But I would love to see a tag team or like two friends be the last two in a Rumble type situation.
Yeah, especially with the history that these two have, where that, they can, come to blows and put on a, stellar match, and do some great storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And then, have the next day they'd be like, oh yeah, he won, we won, whatever, but keep what they have, what they're doing, going on.
Mm-hmm. I still say I want to see I want to see a tag team. Now, New Day would probably be the best. But Sammy and Kevin, I could see them doing it too. Honestly, I wish they would have actually allowed them to do it with KO and Jericho. Like, they kind of teased it a little bit, but they never fully implemented it. I want to see a team Freebird a singles title.
You've heard me say it on SmackDown. I am all for a team freebirding a singles title.
Mm-hmm. As am I.
Yeah, I don't care who it is, really. I just want to see it done. Yeah, New Day would obviously be great in it. I think Kevin and Sammy, or Kevin and anybody really, would probably, would really be able to pull it off.
Mm-hmm.
But heck, after towards the end there, I was all ready for Braun to, do the reverse freebird with the tag belts.
Just do it himself. Yeah,
just do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm all for that.
Yeah. Oh, so am I. I know you and Harry are gonna hate this because you guys are all Rusev Day, but I love their little jab at Rusev and how basically like he's not the one wearing the pants in the relationship.
I had wondered if I had missed something, because it was Rusev, then it was Jericho, then it was Rusev again. When they announced that it was Rusev again, I don't know if you saw it, but Lana did tweet that she decided to allow him to do it.
Yeah, I saw that too, and that's what they're referencing.
Yeah, I know, which didn't make any sense to me because I kept thinking, did I miss something? But
I don't know. I think that was just kind of like a storyline cop-out for what they did or something. I don't know.
That's what I thought, but there's a lot of social media stuff that goes on, like segments and, whatever that I don't see, and I hear of 8 months later.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know if it was something like that, but yeah, them referencing that was hysterical. That and arguing how many kids Kurt Angle has.
But and then they talk about they're gonna prove why Stephanie picked them to be the crown jewels of Raw, and they do the "You Suck" chant to the tune of Kurt's theme, which was hilarious. Then Kurt comes out. They forget to put a chair in the ring for Kurt, so they just pull out a lawn chair.
I know. The segment just had so much comedy gold.
Oh yeah. Well, of course, because these two are comedic gold.
Mm-hmm.
And another great one was how they say how Kurt, they'd be bitter too if their boss had their manhood in a little jar somewhere. Then they talk about how SmackDown was a toxic work environment, Shane's personal vendetta against them, and all of that. And Angle, says, "Hey, if it wasn't for me, Ronda would be under Steph's thumb, and she would have full use of her arm." And then they take the shot at him, saying like, "Hey, you need this job. You have 5 kids." Or well, Kevin gets it right, and Sammy says 5, and then Kevin's like, "Oh, you forgot Jason Jordan." He's like, "Oh, that's right."
Yeah, and he says, well, Kurt did as well for a while.
Yeah.
Hysterical.
That was a good one too.
Hysterical.
And then they talk about like, what are you gonna give us for opportunities to maximize Stephanie's investment. The whole thing, the one thing I didn't get is how Kurt talks to them about like how he's gonna be in the Greatest Royal Rumble with them, and then Daniel Bryan, Jericho, and all the other superstars that they've endeared themselves to over the years are also going to be in. Like, at least the way he started to talk, it seemed as though he was trying to imply that, like, in order to, like, save himself from Stephanie's wrath even more, he was going to, like, side with them and protect them in the Rumble.
Yeah, I think he did. I mean, obviously, I think he meant, he was implying, threats to him, like, okay, all these people that hate you are going to be there. So,
no, I got that. I got that.
No, I
part,
know you did. No, I know you did. But I agree. When he started it, it didn't come off right.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it just didn't seem right. And then he says, that's Friday and tonight's Raw, and she's going to repay them tonight by putting them in a tag team match against Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman, which they're not very happy
random.
about. It is a random tag team, which, I mean, when I was reading the preview for today, on the bottom, towards the bottom, like the second to last line, it was like, Braun Strowman is just floundering around without any direction, which it really is true. Hopefully, once the Universal title actually becomes a thing again, maybe he'll actually get some direction, but we'll see. He's one of those guys that's like, he's so over, yet they're not really doing much of anything with him.
I know, because they're so stuck on this, Brock Roman thing.
Well, of course.
And,
So we get, after that, we get a locker room segment with Seth, and then the Miztourage rolls up, and Bo says, they had to say goodbye to Miz last week, and Curtis says, we're gonna burn it down, and they're wearing Monday Night Rollins shirts, and they decide, they're like, hey, we could be your new Shield brethren, and try to put their fists out for the Shield bump. And Seth lets them down gently and at first, and then it's like no, just no. And as soon as this happened, I called it. Well, both Tori and I called it, but I think I was the one who said it first. I was like, they're going to Finn next, and they're going to try to they're going to try to be his new Balor Club mates now that Gallows and Anderson have been shipped off to SmackDown. And sure enough, I was right, but we'll get to that later. What did you think about this? Well, let's just go into that since we're on the subject. Later on, the Miztourage also goes to Finn Balor, and it's like, hey, we're going to become the new Balor Club. And they put up the 2 Sweet. And Balor is like, no. And then slowly just pushes both their hands down at the same time.
I know. It was really funny. I think they should, It'd be funny if they continued it a little bit. See who else they can.
Yeah, have them try to join.
Whoever.
Well, let's see. You could have them try to join. I don't know how this would work considering the whole gimmick with them. But you could, in theory, have them try to join the gender Miztourage or whatever you want to call it. You could have them join Titus Worldwide.
Oh my God! Stop! That would be hysterical.
It would be. I think that's probably the most likely place that they actually do potentially end up. Or you could have them try to join Dolph and Dolph
and Drew.
Drew's new thing. Those are the only real factions I can really think of.
Yeah, unless they make reference, for me personally, I mean, they would never do it, obviously, because it was an Impact TNA thing, but, I would love to see them do, some version of, beer money.
Oh, God, go to Bobby and be like, hey, let's create beer money.
What? That's not glory. Yeah, no, I would mark out like crazy for that.
I just thought of another one. They could go to Hardy and Wyatt and say, hey, we'll be new Woken Warriors.
Oh yeah, that would, especially with Bray and Bo there.
Oh God, yeah, that could actually work out. I would actually, I actually wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. I mean, I like both Bo and Curtis. They're both pretty talented and pretty funny guys. Yeah. So I'd like to.
I still wish we would have seen Bo in the Wyatt family.
Yeah, I think that would have been pretty. If they do keep this and they do approach them and Wyatt rejects him, would be that'll just be hysterical.
Great, yeah.
I'm telling
what?
I'm telling Mom.
That would be great. So after that, we get we get Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre against Titus Worldwide, two of the teams that we were actually just referring to. And this is a pretty definitive squash.
Oh yeah.
And we see a new finish here with a Claymore zigzag combo by both Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. Let me first, before we talk about this match, let me get the elephant out of the room. I hate Drew's new theme. I loved his one from NXT. I loved his old one, the Out of Time.
Yeah.
But this new one, it's you had such a great theme, and you ruin it by making it heavy. Normally I'm all into heavy stuff. I'm all into the heavy music, but this theme, it's basically Vince is ashamed of his heritage. It seems because he did it with Sheamus, and now he's done it with McIntyre. Vince, there is nothing wrong with Celtic music. It is amazing.
Yeah.
Stop.
It was these really weird bagpipe, almost in mourning type of thing. I don't know. It was
I liked his old theme. His old theme was great.
No, I mean
NXT.
now in the beginning.
Oh,
it was
okay, yeah.
Yeah, heavy weird thing, and I was like, okay, well, Drew's coming out.
Well, no, that the way it sounded at first before the guitar started sounded pretty much the same as what it was in NXT.
Right, but then they screwed it up.
Yep, exactly.
Screwed up royally.
Yes. So yeah, please go back to his old theme, please. I know it won't happen, but any thoughts on this match?
No, it was, I never really thought of Dolph as being on the smaller side till I saw him standing next to Drew. And obviously there's bigger guys than Drew, but for some reason I'm like, Dolph looks so small next to him. I had this thought last week and again this week.
We got the same situation later on in the night with Braun and Bobby.
I know, and Bobby's no slouch.
No.
I don't know how tall he is. Bobby's definitely no slouch. No, it was a quick little match. Exactly who we thought would win.
Yeah.
Won. I have to go back. I want to go back, I should say, and watch the finish again because I kind of missed part of it, but it looked pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then after this, we get an interview with Dolph, said that nobody has had his back until now, which is a bold-faced lie, Dolph.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say her name because, it's like Voldemort. You say her name and she appears. But, and her name also starts with a V. But, I'm probably saying a little too much. She'll probably pop up now. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Her name starts with a V?
Yes.
With Dolph?
Yes, with Dolph. Her ex-husband was a very famous wrestler.
No, now I'm blanking because I was thinking of another wrestler's wife and a member of the New Day who used to back him up. I'm blanking.
We had to deal with her during the Women's Royal Rumble this year. She had a very annoying catchphrase.
Oh, like that narrows it down.
Oh, come on. This is too easy. Do I really have to say her name now?
I can't. Why am I blanking? She was married to a wrestler?
Yes.
That could be anybody.
He died very tragically.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, I blanked on that.
How do you not forget about that?
Because seems like so long ago. Because then she went on to other things.
Yes. But yes, remember remember in 2011 when she was his manager and everything? Yeah.
I love her so, but
I hate her. God damn that ear
she's
curling screech.
Oh yeah, no, that's annoying. But I love her in general. Yeah.
Okay, enough about that. We'll summon her already just by talking too much about her. So yes, your bold-faced lie has been caught, Dolph.
Mm-hmm.
But so he says now I've got McIntyre watching my back and he's dangerous. And Drew says he's right, he is dangerous, and hey, I'll give him credit for this one, and I really hope that this was it obviously is a little bit, but Drew kind of puts on a little bit of a worked shoot that a lot of us were thinking have been thinking, especially with a lot of the guys that have come in from the indies. A lot of people have said this about Gallows and Anderson. AJ is kind of the exception to the rule. Samoa Joe has kind of been an exception. But certain guys from the indies later on in their careers have decided to join WWE basically just for that extra money. And haven't really cared about their placement on the card. They haven't cared about making a name for themselves in WWE. And Drew basically called them out, which was awesome. Right. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, no. I did as well. And he's right, but to those guys who did that, to each their own on some.
I mean, I get it, but
you can't really blame them.
I get it, but I like the guys that actually care about what they're doing.
Totally.
Am I maybe looking too far into this and giving this a little too much credit? But did this? I mean, obviously it's not exactly the same, but this reminded me a lot of, at least just in the tone and everything and the type of things he was saying, it reminded me a lot of Jericho's debut promo back in '99.
No, I don't think you're looking into it too much. As I think about it quickly now, I could agree.
Yeah, where he's like, I'm gonna change the system in the whole company and revitalize the company and everything.
And I hope.
Yeah, I would hope so too. So then we get what?
No, nothing.
Oh, okay. Then we get a Kurt Angle thing backstage, him watching it backstage, and Chad Gable comes in and says, he's not wasting the opportunity of being here. Asks about Jason Jordan, which I don't know I don't know quite the reasoning behind that. We'll see where that goes. I'm sure either A, we'll get an American Alpha 2.0, or we'll get a feud between the two. One or the other. And Angle says, Jordan's doing well, but he brought him here to be a singles performer. And Chad says, bring it on. I'm going to scratch and claw my way to the top. Jinder comes in before he can finish that statement, though. Complains about being forced to Okay, so we had a little technical difficulty there, but we are back now. So as I was saying, Jinder Mahal rolls up while Kurt's talking to Chad Gable and is complaining about why he had to defend his title on such short notice last week, and saying that he's going to regain it from Jeff Hardy on Friday. So he tells Kurt that he wants to be sent back to SmackDown, and Gable pretty much says, "Hey, you need to learn some respect, and I'll teach you it." And it was kind of funny. Jinder called him Nicholas as all grown up.
Jinder was better tonight than he has been in months.
Mm-hmm. But it may be a little too late. But I'll talk about that later on. And says that Mini Me just passed away. So I guess he's talking about Bruno.
No, he's talking about Vern Troyer.
Oh. Chad shoves him, and Angle says, "Hey, we settle things in the ring here on Raw, so you guys are gonna have a match." We get the normal Sunil Singh big intro, and Jinder attacks before the bell and keeps on attacking, and the ref backs him off and asks if Chad's ready to go, and we get the match. Nothing really too crazy to talk about this. Jinder had the Colossus on Gable, and then before Gable blocked him and he reversed the Cobra Clutch into the pin. Maybe again this is my Jinder hatred and my looking too far into this, but do you think this is kind of the beginning of the end? Is Jinder back to jobber status?
No, I don't think so at all. I think a loss here. I think they tried to show Gable as the, plucky, smaller guy who is extremely talented, because he is, pulling one out over on the hot-headed, Indian guy.
Mm.
I don't think it's the beginning of the end for him at all. I know many will find that unfortunate. I'm kind of on the fence about Jinder. I don't dislike him as much as many other people. But I think Gable losing would have hurt Gable more than Jinder losing, because this is, Gable getting one over, kind of quickly on him,
Yeah.
The smaller guy beating the bigger guy, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how this goes both on Friday and moving forward. Renee is backstage interviewing the Riot Squad. Ruby says that the attack last week, it wasn't exclusively aimed at Bayley and Sasha, but it's to the entire women's division, that they're here to disrupt, and that, Sarah Logan says that she grew up hunting and tracking animals, and that they're on the prowl, and every other woman is pretty much a deer in the headlights, pretty much. And Liv Morgan says that Alexa Bliss and Mickie James aren't any different. That they'll if they end up being a problem, that they'll take them out. Anything on this segment?
No, I got a kick out of the way Sarah, phrased things.
Mm-hmm.
But it was pretty standard. It was decent. I'm hoping that these three really get a shot here over on Raw.
Mm-hmm. Then we get a hand cam promo with Samoa Joe talking about how if Reigns gets the title, that he at first he says he's worried about not having an opponent at Backlash. He thinks Brock is basically going to destroy him. So interesting thing there, saying that Brock's going to leave Reigns buried in the Arabian desert.
Wishful thinking on many people's part.
Yes. Yeah, that's what a lot of people would like to see, Joe, but I doubt it will happen. We get, we talked about this already, Miztourage trying to pitch to Balor.
It's still funny.
Oh, it is. It's hilarious. So then we get a tag team match, between Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman. Or Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman versus KO and Sami Zayn. You know what I just realized? That I'm very disappointed in myself. And I don't want to start it now because it's a little too late. But I didn't do Harry's little thing and make you join me in it.
No. One fall.
Yes, precisely. Schedule for one fall. We get this tag match. Pretty interesting match. I mean, you got Kevin and Sammy doing their whole thing with them trying to, roll out and try to, duck and dodge the two bigger guys in the beginning, and then they Bobby and Braun kind of corner them and pincer them to force them into the ring, and we finally get the match. Bobby starts off going after I think it was Kevin at first, and Lashley showed some pretty strong offense, and then Sammy and Kevin finally get the upper hand with the numbers game. Bobby tries to make the tag to Braun, but KO stops him. And then probably the biggest moment of this match was when Braun basically just tossed Sammy across the ring.
Oh my god, that whole flip thing, that perfect circle that Sammy did. Yeah, it wasn't a bad match. It was fun.
Yeah.
And, Braun did what they have Braun doing, these days, and there's nothing, wrong with that.
That drop kick, too, was great.
Yeah. Oh my god, wasn't that?
Yeah.
The one I did not see that coming. There's me. There's a lot, not the type that very much goes, holy, what,
Yeah.
but at that moment I was. That was awesome.
And the delayed vertical suplex, which it seemed like Bobby had, was it Kevin or Sammy that was up in the air? I forget. Oh, I think it was Sami that he was holding, and he held him for a good 15, 20
Oh
seconds.
yes,
I thought
that
he
was
was gonna hold
crazy.
it forever. I was like, when are you gonna
Yeah,
drop him?
poor Sammy got his
Yeah.
little booty kick tonight. When
Oh
he tried
yes.
to run away, it was funny too.
Yeah, these two could definitely put on some good matches.
Hmm.
And it's going to be interesting to see where they go with both of them because, again, like we talked about before, it seems like while they're trying to push both Bobby and Braun, it just doesn't seem like they really have any distinctive direction for them.
No, definitely does not.
Then we get a No Way Jose entrance. Well, we get some more promotion for the main event. And then we get a vision for Baron Corbin that he'll be debuting on Raw next. No Way Jose makes his entrance, and it's kind of funny. As soon as he came out, especially because I saw ahead of time, before the commercial break, that it was Baron Corbin.
Hmm.
I was thinking, and I was happily surprised. I was like, oh great, Jose's gonna get squashed by Corbin. And Jose makes his entrance with his conga line, and then Corbin comes out and says, I'm not gonna face you with all of these people out here," and he's thinking in heel terms. He's like,
Right.
they're gonna jump me from behind, and you're gonna get a match. You're gonna get a win because of all the distractions. And he's like, my idea of fun is ruining other people's fun. And basically says Jose's not on his level. Says he says it what I think about this match is no way Jose, which is great. I like that. And Jose's like, you know what? Just because Corbin doesn't want a match doesn't mean that the party has to stop. His music hits. They start heading out, and yeah, I saw this coming from a mile away. I think you probably did as well.
I did.
Jose ushers his conga line out. He's the last one to leave. And just as he's about to, and he turns his back, surprise, surprise, Baron Corbin attacks him from behind.
Shocking.
Shocker. Yeah, not really much. This is just setting up for their feud. This is going to be a match that'll probably be a Backlash or something.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting feud. It's not two people that I would see being put together, but
I'm trying to remember. I feel like there was someone else. Maybe this was on NXT with Sammy, but I feel like there was another person that Corbin was paired up against that it was kind of an odd combination, but they did pretty well.
Did I imagine it or I just read it somewhere? Did Booker actually say, where's the guy that used to have the bunny?
Oh God, did he? I didn't hear that. I
have to go listen. I saw a couple of people say that.
That's funny.
And so I have to go hear it.
That's great.
Anybody who listens to us on SmackDown at 205 knows that I don't watch NXT. I can I follow it as much as I can, so I know what's going on. I don't know if I'm sold on the whole No Way Jose.
You haven't seen him enough.
Yeah, I definitely haven't seen him enough. I mean, I loved Adam Cole, Adam. So we'll see.
But you mean Adam Rose?
Adam Rose, yeah. I also do love Adam Cole. But
yes, of course, Adam Cole, baby. But I'll admit, when they first played the promos for No Way Jose when he first debuted in NXT, I felt the same way because I was thinking, oh, it's just going to be another generic, Hispanic character and whatnot. But then as soon as he came in and his energy and his moveset and everything, you haven't seen him in the ring yet, I'm hoping they bring back, because I know you're a baseball fan too, so you'll appreciate this. I hope they bring back a lot of his baseball-based moves that he used back when he first started in NXT. He kind of faded away from it, but like his finisher was basically a pitch. He would actually do the wind-up and then punch him in the face.
Nice.
So like he was a lot of fun to watch.
You could definitely tell he has, charisma, and you definitely tell that he has a lot going for him. I think it's just it does look very recycled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's something that especially in Vince McMahon's world, all dancing type gimmicks have a very short shelf life, which is worrisome for him. But he's definitely different than your normal prototypical dancing gimmick. He definitely has more to him than what you see at first.
Mm-hmm.
So we now get a public service announcement for Alexa Bliss, and now she's trying to turn the tables on Nia Jax, saying she's the one being bullied. Yeah, no one believes you, Alexa. Just please shut up.
Yeah, for me, that whole thing was a little awful. I mean, Alexa was great, but it was just like a little weird. Like, now they're gonna go down this route.
Well,
but
yeah, I mean,
it's still pretty entertaining.
Yeah. They could have done, like, I understand why they did it the way they did it during Mixed Match Challenge, but the ultimate just like go away team that would have just infuriated everyone, but they could have done so much with it would have been Miz and Alexa.
Oh, totally.
Because those are the only two that are truly like the full-on heels that no one likes, except for all of the the contrarian fans now that love Miz for no reason whatsoever.
Right.
But that's neither here nor there. I'll show my Miz hatred tomorrow, I'm sure. Then we get entrances for the tag match that was created. Apparently, Miztourage, because they were denied by both Balor and Rollins. They're like, since we can't join them, we'll try to beat them. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, we knew exactly what was going to happen.
We all know what's going to happen here. Balor and Rollins win with a curb stomp followed by coup de grace on both of them. Well, on Curtis Axel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there wasn't much to write home about. For this match, it is exactly what anybody would think it would be.
Yeah, it's pretty much just the tag match getting these two ready for Friday.
Right.
I
still don't know how Joe wound up in the table, the ladder match, but that's all.
Yeah, I don't know either, but whatever. Probably just to add an extra person. Then we
just like
just because they didn't want to just throw him into the Royal Rumble. We get the face women for the main event talking about strategy, and Nia Jax kind of puts her own PSA out there that mocking her is bad for your health, which agreed.
Yes.
So the other three leave. Sasha and Bayley are just there. Sasha, I don't know if did they even really say anything, or did Bayley just kind of leave?
They just looked at each other and
Bayley
like they stared at each other, and Bayley walked off.
So coming back from break, we get entrances, and Tori noticed this more than I did, and we were half expecting something to happen. Something did happen, but not this. But Bayley kind of was giving like a dirty look towards Sasha during the entrances.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah. So we get Before we start this, I have a name for this tag match, and I'm sure you'll agree with me that we'll probably be saying the same exact thing tomorrow night on SmackDown. This is the sorry we couldn't book you on the show Retribution main event.
I almost said this in our W2M, messenger chat thing. Like, oh, they got the main event because they can't go to the, pay-per-view.
So someone put it on a meme better. They described it better than I did. But pretty much it's, because because you can't be on the show in Saudi Arabia, we're going to give you the main event. And I'm sure they'll probably get the main event tomorrow night as well, kind of as a, repayment for not being able to do anything.
I think one of the issues with the dear internet is that there's a lot of fans out there who might be too young or might just be too ill-informed that they don't understand why the women, and obviously we're not going to go into the politics of it, why the women aren't going. They're not just being snubbed by the company. It's just
This has nothing to do with WWE in and of itself.
Right. And
I'm not going to go too far into it, but yes, if WWE cared more about their women than they did about money, this show would not be happening.
Right.
But this has nothing to do with WWE. It's because Saudi Arabia and the rest of the Arab world is still in the 1800s.
Pretty much.
So, that's as far as we'll get politics-wise here.
Yeah.
This is basically just their repayment for, we're trying to make money off of this region, but because they're still in the Dark Ages, you can't come, so we're just going to throw you a bone and give you the main event for this week.
And a couple extra days off, I'm sure they don't.
Oh, I'm sure some of them don't mind, but,
Yeah.
So, pretty solid match. The main thing about this match was them going after Natalya and attacking her, and then continuing to continuing to attack. Eventually, she gets knocked out to ringside, and they send out the medical staff to look after her. Natalya still tries to go on the attack, or I think it was actually Sarah Logan actually, or was either Sarah Logan or Liv Morgan who tried to go on the attack, or no, excuse me, it was Mickie James, who still tried to continue attacking her after she got knocked out and
came to the ring with Mickie,
and then. Another one that I kind of called, granted, I was thinking that they were actually going to, have her get pulled out, away from the ring and, into the backstage area. And then basically, because we all know, once someone gets pulled out of the area, someone can come in to replace them. I was thinking that's when Rousey was going to come out as a replacement for her. But instead, as, Mickie James continues to attack, Natalya, Ronda Rousey's music hits. She goes after Mickie James, excuse me. And yeah, she goes in, attacks Mickie, and technically it's a loss for them through a disqualification, but that's not really the big story here. The rumor going around right now is that we're going to get a tag match between Rousey and Natalya versus Bliss and James, which I'm perfectly fine with. But this was a good way to end the show. Continues a couple of feuds and really highlight the women moving into what a lot of people are disappointed in with the Saudi show.
In 5-on-5 matches are always a bit awkward
wacky,
and messy and whatever. Sometimes you get something really good, and sometimes you're like, okay, that was pointless. I mean, but like you said, it furthered a few storylines. It started a couple of new things. I like that. Most people know my feelings on the whole Ronda thing, but I'm giving it a shot. I'm trying not to
she's
be
impressed
too
me
pessimistic
more
about
than...
it. She has. She has. I hate her outfit completely, and I know that doesn't mean anything. Not that I think she should be dressed, totally, for lack of a better term, trashy or skimpy like the rest of them. No, that's not her look. I just don't like her outfit. And I was laughing when she was trying to help, like, Natalia up. I'm like, she doesn't even know how to help somebody out. But that's just me being silly, not me being, like, horrible about her. And obviously she needed to be in a certain position for Mickey to hit her. But, yeah, no, it was good. It set a couple of things up, and it wasn't as awful as I expected it to be.
The biggest question with this, and I understand that this wasn't the main storyline for this match. It was really mostly just to set up the Rousey and Natalya versus Bliss and James match. But I wonder how long it takes before they progress any further with the whole Sasha Bayley thing. And the bigger question is who makes the turn.
I'm hoping it's Bayley, because if anybody needs...
that seems to be where they're headed.
It has to be Bayley, because she used to drop this "I'm a hugger" crap, and I've said that for a while now. Her whole "I'm a fan, I've been a fan, this is my lifelong dream." All right, we know, we get it. She's the one that most needs a makeover in a sense. So I think she would benefit the most from turning. Rather than, because I think if she doesn't, she runs the risk of her character playing the victim again, which I don't think would do her any good.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It'll be interesting to see how Bayley handles herself if she does become a heel, because she's never done it before. Rating on this show?
I was thinking about this throughout the show, and this show us talking. I'm gonna have to go. I was gonna go as low as a 6, but as we've talked about it, I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
I was gonna go the same route, 6.5.
Yeah.
One word review.
Decent.
Decent.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say, steady. It wasn't really, wasn't really anything crazy, but it was a steady show. Okay, let's go. Let's go into predictions for Friday. We'll just do we'll just do the Raw based stuff, because hey, that's a little plug for tomorrow night, everyone. If you want to hear our SmackDown review, or if you want to hear our SmackDown predictions, and you want to hear who we predict will win the Cruiserweight title for 205, hey, you gotta tune in tomorrow. Okay, Raw Tag Team title, the Deleter of Worlds versus the Bar. I think this is pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I mean, the Bar is now on SmackDown, and SmackDown already has tag champions. So I think I'll watch us all be wrong, but I'll go with Matt and Bray.
I don't see how this can be wrong, but okay.
It's the WWE.
I know this. I know this. I mean, we were wrong on the most obvious thing we thought we knew from like a year ago, just a couple of weeks ago.
My biggest fear is that the Bar, and I love the Bar, but my biggest fear is that the Bar will win and have to
relinquish them because they're on SmackDown.
Relinquish them so they're on SmackDown, and then we get a whole new tournament.
Oh God, I could see them doing it though.
Yeah, I know.
Rusev is still on SmackDown, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll talk about that tomorrow. Cena versus Triple H. This is an interesting one, and they haven't really promoted it at all. It's just kind of a throwaway match to put the two of your bigger name guys on the card.
Cena versus Triple H. I'm probably gonna say they're gonna come up with like some crazy thing, but I'm gonna say if there is a clear-cut winner, I'm gonna go with Cena.
See, I'm torn on this. I don't really know enough about like what the Saudi crowds have seen and like what their knowledge of WWE is or anything. So just playing under the assumption that they're relatively new to the WWE scene, I'm gonna also go with Cena. I don't like it, but
but since Cena's not actually on a show at the moment, then we don't know when we're really gonna see him again. Triple H taking a loss to him because Triple H isn't even really full time.
Yeah,
Triple H taking a loss to him is as much as I hate to say this, good for business. It's not going to hurt anybody.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I just like Triple H a lot more than I like Cena.
Oh yeah, totally agree. Absolutely.
Seth versus Miz versus Balor versus Joe for Intercontinental title ladder match.
I want Seth to retain. Seth. Shocking, I know.
This is another one that it's at least semi-self-explanatory where there's one of two choices. But those two choices are hard to decipher between.
I'm going to say Finn to set up the Seth-Finn feud we all have been waiting for.
You think Finn?
Yeah. You're going to say Joe, right?
No, of course not. I said there's a choice between two, and those two is Seth and Finn, because...
Yeah.
Well, then again, Joe's on SmackDown now, so... No,
oh, yeah, that's right.
Unless they decide to switch it. Which could, in theory, happen, if you really think about it.
Well, no, because who's wrestling for the U.S. title?
Jinder versus Jeff. So if Jinder won, you could move him. You can move it back.
They're all going to switch it, but anyway,
we're all going to be wrong, and they're going to switch. We all thought that they're not going to change it again. They're going to keep the titles in their same place, and then a week later they're going to switch it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So you're going to say Seth?
I'm going to. I don't think they do too much with this, because while, yes, they're promoting it a good bit, it still just feels like a glorified house show. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Seth. I think he retains. And then they move on to just it being Seth versus Finn, since Miz and Joe are, off to SmackDown.
Right.
Jeff Hardy versus Jinder Mahal for U.S. title.
Oh,
wait, or should we wait? No, we'll wait on that. Never mind. We'll wait on that. Or do we... This is so confusing because there's some... we'll go based off of where the titles are currently. So we'll save the U.S. title for tomorrow.
Okay, that's good.
Lesnar versus Reigns for Universal title.
This is such a... it really is a tough one because there's so many rumors and so much hatred for both Brock and Roman. I mean, we know how people treat Roman. We don't have to get into it, but there are tons of fans who are tired of the part-time champion. But I'm gonna say Roman, because if they have him lose to Brock again, there's no possible way they can continue this.
Yeah,
he has to move on to something else.
I agree with that. There's two reasons why I'm going to say definitively, and I know I say it at Mania. I was so sure of myself. I think just about all of us were sure of ourselves at Mania, and it didn't happen. But there are two things. One, that you just said, and the other that's much more rumor based, but it makes a lot of sense. That tells me that there's no way that Roman Reigns does not walk out as the Universal Champion. First is what you said, where a second loss to Brock, where do you go from there? There's, who do you have Lesnar face then? That's the first. The second one, that's a lot more rumored based, but it makes a lot of sense. Granted, Vince could be completely wrong on this, and I would laugh my head off if he were completely wrong on this. But because they, especially in a country that isn't as in tune on the internet and all of this, especially in countries like this, but even in more advanced countries, for some reason, I think it is because they don't follow the dirt sheets as much, but Reigns gets a much more positive reaction from crowds overseas than he does in the U.S. So Vince is so hell-bent on wanting that positive reaction. He doesn't care what happens afterwards. He knows he's going to get booed afterwards. But he wants that positive reaction when Reigns wins. That this was the way, and I think this is why he didn't win at WrestleMania this year, which was being predicted ahead of, was being predicted for over a year. I think if it wasn't for the Greatest Royal Rumble event, he would have won it at Mania. Right. But because of this, and Vince saying, I can have him win in a location where the crowd will actually cheer him because I can control it better, then he took it and ran with it. So
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think for both of those two reasons, Reigns is winning on Friday. Greatest Royal Rumble, I'll ask a two-part question on this. First, obviously, three parts, actually. First, who do you think will win? Second, do you think we're going to get any huge surprises? And then third, do you think this is going to mean anything?
I'm going to answer them backwards.
Okay.
Do I think it's going to mean anything? I think it's going to mean something in the sense that winning the Andre and the no longer called that person who Harry's name never wants to hear means something. I mean, I think I can sadly see them doing this, pay-per-view thing again next year.
Considering it's supposed to be a 10-year deal.
Oh God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you didn't see that?
No, I didn't know. I think it will mean something. I think it'll be hyped, especially in the Middle East and such.
Well, no, I don't mean in that sense. I mean like what you were talking about before, where in a storyline.
No, sense. It will. I think it'll definitely mean something in the sense that the other two things mean something. So for a week or two, and then that's it.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah. So, will we get some surprises? Yes, because, I mean, during the Royal Rumble, it was like, okay, who's going to be the 30 people?
Yeah.
It's so you're probably going to get all of New Day. You're going to get most of the
they've already been announced.
Yeah, no, but that's just I'm thinking. I'm trying to think. You're going to get all the tag teams and all the the bit players and everything. Who wins? I'm trying to think if there's anybody with an Arab background that they would have win. Who wins? That's the toughest thing because you gotta with the Royal Rumble, you usually know. It's pretty set because you pretty know who they're trying to book for Mania and everything. I think it's going to be somebody that's a pretty well-known name.
Mm-hmm. But see, that's the issue too with this, is that I mean, I could have looked it up a lot more, but I mean, I don't know how much research they've got or how much information they really have on this. Like, who do the Arab fans know? How much do they really know?
Does the show even air in Saudi Arabia?
I would assume so.
It must. So they probably know. And I don't say that to be derogatory. I don't really keep track of where I know, but for anybody who actually may listen to this, I don't pay attention to where anything airs. Yeah. So I either think they're gonna make somebody like Jericho win it, for whatever reason, or I'm trying to think. I'm picturing the roster. Everybody that comes to mind is actually in a different
match already.
Yeah. The usual suspects.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to go with You know what? I'm going to go crazy and I'm going to pick Kurt.
Okay. I could see that. Okay, so I'll go the same direction as you did. First, will it mean anything? Like you said, it's basically going to be like the Andre, where it'll mean... and they even have a big old trophy like the Andre. Did you see that earlier?
I heard there was, but I couldn't bring myself to look at it.
Okay, well, they actually showed it on Raw earlier.
No, missed it.
What?
I missed it. Yeah. I must have looked it up.
But it's basically going to be like the Andre, where, it's going to, whoever wins it, if it is even a full-time person, will gloat about it for a couple of weeks, yada, yada, yada. It won't have any real stakes, and then it'll just fade into obscurity.
Right.
So, will it mean something? Yes and no. The surprises, actually, two of the quote-unquote surprises that you could have actually gotten were kind of spoiled by a graphic that they sent out.
Okay, I missed it. I missed all the good stuff.
No, this is something that I saw online. There's a poster going around that has both Mark Henry and Rey Mysterio on it.
Oh God, Rey's gonna win, isn't he?
Well, I was gonna get to that. Oh, and apparently Great Khali's on it. Let me look. I don't see Khali on here, but I guess
they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
But in terms of other surprises, I don't really know who else they can really get. But we may see a few older guys coming in. Maybe see some Scott Hall and Kevin Nash or something like that.
Yeah.
But again, it's another thing where it's I don't know how much or how far back the Saudi fans know. So it's bringing in an older Attitude Era type guy may not get the pop that you would get stateside. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping that we get a few surprises at least, especially considering, like you said, it's a 50-man Royal Rumble. So you have to figure they don't have 50 guys. I'm sure we'll probably have a few NXT guys come in, maybe some Adam Cole, baby,
and 205, yeah,
and maybe and some 205 maybe. And then in terms of who wins this thing. This is tough.
Right? Because I know I dragged it out, but I really couldn't think of anybody.
Yeah. But, because like you said, and like I said before, I don't really know what they know. I don't know who, the top the top guy over in Saudi Arabia is, who they're the biggest fan of. so it's really hard to say, oh, this guy's gonna win or this guy's gonna win. I'm gonna kind of hedge my bets too, kind of like what you did. I'm sure we'll talk about this more, and Harry will probably give us a name tomorrow. They'll be like, "Oh, we didn't think of that person."
Yeah, right. He's gonna show up.
But I'm gonna say it's gonna either be Braun Strowman, Daniel Bryan, or Kurt Angle.
Oh, I didn't think of Braun. I kept thinking for some reason Braun was doing something else.
No, he's not.
Yeah, I can definitely see either of those three.
Yeah. So
any of those three, I should say.
Yeah. So those are our predictions for Greatest Royal Rumble. If you want to hear what we think about the SmackDown-based and 205 Live-based matches in this, and I'm sure it will talk about the Greatest Royal Rumble more, the actual Greatest Royal Rumble match more tomorrow as well. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night for SmackDown Live review and 205 Live review. So that just about does it. Anything else you'd like to say before we sign off?
No, I can't think of a thing. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes, it has. We'll see what happens over the next couple of weeks. It's probably going to be a bit of a host carousel around here for the next couple of weeks. So we'll see who I'm with next week. For Liz,
probably me or Harry.
What?
Probably me or Harry.
Well, more than likely you or Harry, but we'll see. So for Liz Pugliese, I'm Brandon Biskobing signing off and saying good night. Talk to you guys tomorrow.